with the Scoop podcast powered by the Roof Gallery.
All right. The one and only David Summerlee with the Euroshield. Man, what did you do before? Why did you decide to pick the Euroshield field and work for them?
So I came over from marketing into roofing back in 2017. And
marketing for what branch or what industry?
Dex Media. I was inside sales, selling to roofing contractors.
Dex Media.
Are
they still around?
Yeah, they partner with Yellow Pages. They're pretty big now. But
I hate Yellow Pages and I hate Dex.
I'm not a fan now, like looking back and learning a lot, from all the different marketers in our industry.
All right, let's start there. How did you sell to the contractors? What did you tell them? You wanted more business, so you were one of those.
So Dex Media actually has a pretty phenomenal training program. They spend like $100,000 training you. And the script just felt kind of fake to me. And that's just not how I operate. And so what I found was nobody wanted to call New Jersey because people in Jersey are like, get to the point. What are you calling me for? They don't want to hear your BS. And so nobody wanted to call Jersey. So I would actually take all the lists for Jersey and I would call the Jersey contractors.
Really?
And I would just be very straight up front with them. And what happened is...
Why do you think Jersey is so special?
Just the culture there. The people are just like, get to the point. I don't want to, I don't want to chit chat. We don't want to talk in circles about things that don't matter. What are you trying to sell me? And so I would just call and be very direct. So I was just making a lot more calls than everybody else. And what I was finding is a certain percentage of them would just be effective. They wanted to go ahead and get something going, whether it was a listing in the phone book or whether it was online marketing.
Love it. Fast forward to the roofing industry from there.
Yeah. So I sold a contractor and they had a partnership with this other company, sold them the premium package that we had. And then they called me one day and said, hey, we split off with that other company. We want you to help with marketing. Can you run by the office? Okay. So I ran by the office. Turns out it was an interview. They weren't there to buy the premium package. I didn't realize that. So they were telling me about storm restoration,
so they
roofing.
Tricked you.
Yeah. Yeah, those guys were great. So they were basically like, hey, we can teach you all this stuff real quick, and I was just like, hey, I got a guy I can refer to you. I don't know anything about roofing. I don't know anything about storm restoration. Probably not the best job for me, but I can refer a friend. And he said, you don't understand. Every time we've called, you've answered the phone. You always seemed like you cared about us when we called you or when you called us. It just seemed like you really thought that what you were selling us was good stuff and you wanted to help us get the results. That's the kind of thing we want for our customers, so we want you to come work for us. The roofing stuff, easy. 5 minutes in training, you'll learn it. Sure enough, I got about 5 minutes in training on a roof. It was, I think this is hail damage. Here's some contracts, good luck. And then I learned a lot from there, actually from a lot of insurance adjusters, the good ones that actually care. If you treat them with respect, I got a lot of good information out of them. And then going to conferences, I went and saw you at a conference. When I first saw you was at a conference, and I think you were talking to Gary Vee, and it left a memorable impression. And then that event or the next one, you started doing the arm wrestling thing. You and I ended up being two of the last three people on stage. And then I've just been following your stuff ever since. Just a fan and a friend,
Love it.
And
how did you get in with the Euroshield?
So Euroshield's incredible. I went out in 2018. There was a huge $2 billion hailstorm in Aurora, Colorado. And that contractor I was working for had asked me to go out there and open up an office for him in Colorado. I accidentally opened one in right above that in Wyoming. And they were kind of mad at me because they needed a different kind of license and all this stuff. If I sold enough jobs that they forgave me. But while I was going through a neighborhood in Colorado, I see a Euroshield roof. It was the Rundle Slate. It looks like a castle when it's installed.
Wow.
And so I'm walking through, and I said, what is that? It's gorgeous. So I went and knocked the door. I said, your roof looks fine. I don't think there's probably any damage up there, but I'd really like to know what that is. And they gave me a flyer. And I open it, and first thing I see is it says hailproof. Hailproof? That doesn't exist. This can't be right. So I did a lot of research, and Johnson Construction, Chase Johnson out there, at the time was the only contractor listed on their website. And I told my boss, we can compete here, And so he was like, we sell disposable roofs. We want them to have to replace them every 1 to 3 years. I was still interested. So I followed up with Chase Johnson to learn more about it. he was super helpful. I was like really blown away. He wasn't trying to be competitive and hide things. He was incredibly helpful. I got a ton of information on it. So then for the next couple of years after that, I would constantly tell people, I want to sell this thing called Euroshield. It's hailproof, blah, blah. And so I would tell people that. Well, when I ran into Leslie, the president of Euroshield, Heath Hicks made the introduction while we were at IRE last year. And she's like, hey, I'm Leslie with Euroshield, the president of Euroshield. And I was like, oh, I love Euroshield. I've been telling people for years I want to sell it. She's like, okay, come sell it. And that was it. We got rolling.
Easy sell.
Yeah.
Why people like Euroshield from your experience? Give me one or two, like, let's do one. Give me one customer testimonial, someone who picked Euroshield. What did they say? Why did they pick it? And what was their experience?
Sure. There's a family, Don and Shirley Whedon in Alabama, Mobile, Alabama, a little west of there. They got a beautiful lake house, and they got hail damage. And they're retired now. They'd sold off a bunch of stock and bought this just gorgeous house. And they got their insurance claim. Super Roofers helped them out, did a really good job helping them out with that. They got approved. And
Super Roofers, like the name.
they spent a couple years researching because they wanted to make, I think it was more than a year maybe, might have been longer, but they wanted to make sure that they got the last roof they were ever going to have to buy. And after comparing it with everything else on the market, researching it like crazy, Don did, they decided on Euroshield. And then they called back and wanted to get me to send them some more confirmation on which roofers to talk to. And I was like, well, I think Super Roofers is wanting to install this. And they seem like they really care about doing a great job. And they were like, that confirms it. We were already talking to them. So they ended up, Super Roofers did that install. The homeowners are so happy. And they're the raving fan that you always look for when you're in sales. The customer that will just go and tell everybody how great the product is or whatever else they love about it. And they are just an absolute blessing. They had me stay at their house while the build was going on.
Wow.
And
that's huge.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. They took me out to eat, and I went in their pool and did a cold dip, and then looked for nails while I was in there.
Love it. Do we have any champagne left? Too bad. Roofing gallery. What's your experience here? What do you think?
It's amazing. Donovan has this long-term vision, and from the moment he started talking to me about it, I was like, okay, this guy's seeing things how they could be. And it's just really mind-blowing how far into the future he's seeing. And it reminds me a lot. I just went and watched that movie Air recently, the Nike thing. And I feel that movie a lot with Euroshield and some of the growing pains with learning more on the marketing and branding for the company and how we're growing and getting more notoriety. A lot of the stuff you've put out and stuff has helped a ton. And while watching that movie, I thought of him a bunch. And, he wants to create Dawn Black. It's his own special color of a Euroshield roof. And he's like, yeah, send me $1 off each one. Let's go. He's just got that mentality, that long-term mentality. And he wants to it's clear that he wants to create an incredible legacy, not just for himself or his family, but also for others, and leave something that actually leaves a positive, lasting impression.
Very cool. Well, thank you for sharing. Good to see you, brother.
Good to see you, brother. Hey, and if you're not on directory yet, work on that. Literally, the president of my company was wearing a T-shirt yesterday, and she tells me, you need to talk to directory contractors. They're the top-notch contractors. Like, they know how to install premium products and do a great job.
Thank you. Didn't expect that. Thank you, brother.